Good afternoon, everybody. Big Mike here. Welcome back to Big Mike Talks, where today I'm going to talk about the rest of the week that was in pro wrestling. That is right, that includes TNA Impact Wrestling, WWE SmackDown, AEW Rampage, and then AEW Collision, which I thought I was going to miss, but it turns out I did not. So, I hope y'all sit back, relax, and let's get into this one. As we start off with TNA Impact Wrestling, in which before I start, I just want to give a shout out to former President Scott D'Amore, who recently got fired. Not going to go into a little more because there's been speculation why. So I'd say go out, look that up for yourself. Scotty, you're the real one. You made this TNA return possible. Nothing but respect, my dude. Anyway, back on track. We are going to, first off, kick off with X Division action as the champion Chris Sabin takes on John Skyler of the Good Hands. And this match was a lot of fun. It's awesome to see someone like John Skyler grow a whole lot. Honestly, I hope the Good Hands get a little bit of a push going forward. At one point, Skyler gets out of the cradle shock, which, that's freaking nuts. Hits a middle rope spear, which, that was awesome. Goes for a splash, he misses it. Chris Sabin with the big boot right into the cradle shock to pick up the victory. So, and we got a big match coming for No Surrender. It's going to be Chris Sabin versus Mustafa Ali. That match is going to blow the roof off of everything. So next we go backstage to an Alex Shelley interview, the former TNA World Champion. Pretty much says, I've been here 20 years in the business. I've trained some of the greats. And I understand what makes a good team in this business. Tonight, I'm going to make Eddie Kingston my personal voodoo doll. And I hope that ropes off on the rest of the system. And there's a funny thing about the system. You take out one component, it all falls. My man's spitting some facts here. Let's see if he can get through it later on. Next up, we got the Knockouts in action as Tasha Steelz takes on Xia Brookside. This is their second official one-on-one meeting. The first time they met was in Ultimate X for Hard to Kill. They have since had a singles outing, which Xia Brookside won. And this one, it was fine for what it was. Definitely a decent technical bout, including an octopus hold. You don't see anyone besides Gresham doing that. Brookside tries for the Brooksy bomb. That gets blocked. Right into the roll-up for your win for Tasha Steelz. So they are 1-4-1 in the win column. Let's see what happens in the third bout. You know that's coming. Next up, we go backstage. The current tag team champions, the Ace and Bay Connection, are giving their thoughts on their current rivalry with the Grizzled Young Veterans. Pretty much saying, look, you had a shot in that 4-way at Hard to Kill. We beat you and 2 other teams. But then you complain and get yourself to the front of the line. And here we are in a 3-match series and we're down 1. And you obviously took a shortcut to get that first win. And obviously this isn't what veterans do. Then from behind, the grizzled young veterans jump the ABC from behind. Security breaks it up, and they just start jawing, which, that's gonna. I am super hyped for match 2. It's gonna be interesting to see where this goes. Hopefully the ABC pick up the victory, and we get match 3, which I'm gonna be certain is at No Surrender, which will probably include some other stipulation. Next, we get Frankie Kazarian. He's walking backstage. Jake something walks up to him, pretty much says, "Look, I've been seeing what you're doing. I don't agree with it, and I want to get some revenge from my boy Eric Young." And Kaz says, "Alright, it's your funeral," and just walks off. So, a Cass versus Jake something match. Definitely seen it before, but I'm pretty into it. Speaking of a match I'm into, we get Speedball Mike Bailey taking on Zachary Wentz, and this is pretty much X Division at the highest level. Just really good back and forth between the two, including interference from outside from Trey Miguel. Bailey goes for an Ultima Weapon, but that gets countered right into a elbow. Going beat for beat. At one point, Bailey gets taken out on the outside, but he beats the 10 count. Then match ends with Trey Miguel grabbing Mike Bailey's foot after he hit the ropes trying for something else. Bailey goes for the Ultima Weapon. Miguel grabs his leg to stop him. Bailey then goes for the move right into a UFO cutter from Wentz for Wentz to pick up the victory. This match was awesome. It might be one of my favorite matches of the week. I say go check it out if you haven't. Now, post-match, Rascals, that's Trey Miguel and Zachary Wentz, attack Bailey post-match. Who makes the save? It's Bailey's partner from Hard to Kill, Trent Seven of Mustache Mountain. He starts trying to make the save, but then Steve Macklin attacks Trent and Bailey from behind. The trio then start beating on Bailey and Trent, who then makes the save. Oh, it's Nick Nemeth, which is awesome. Nick making some allies in TNA to counter Macklin and the Rascals. Should be fun. We then get a Khan vignette, which, that'll play in later. Then we get a weird backstage promo from Rhino. He keeps cursing, and then the camera keeps zooming in and out and kind of angling weird. It looked like something, WWE would do back in the day. Rhino pretty much calling out Crazy Steve for the title. And he's going to beg me for mercy as I rip him in half with a gore. So, highly intense promo from Rhino. It's definitely going to be interesting to see where that goes. Next up, we have the Knockouts Tag Team action as Trinity teams up with the Knockouts champion Jordan Grace to take on Giselle Shaw and Savannah Evans. And oh boy, it starts out as a hoss fight from Grace and Evans. Just doing every big move they can to each other. Vidal does get involved, but then he eats a big boot from Grace. Crazy DDT from Giselle Shaw. That was best they ever threw. Lots of really good tag action. Shaw goes for the full Nelson bomb that gets countered. Code Red right into Starstruck. We are winners are Trinity and Jordynne Grace. And with that is Trinity's last match for TNA, as she is now transitioning back to Naomi in the WWE. So look out for her on SmackDown, because she's going to have WWE feeling the glow again. And I can't wait. Then we go backstage with Deaner, formerly of The Design. Pretty much announces, yeah, break up the Design was my choice to make. But then AJ Francis turns up. That's Top Dollar, if you remember him. He comes to Deaner with an offer, pretty much saying, look, I can help you turn things around. Then Deaner pretty much says, look, if you want to help with Joe Hendry, just say so. And then Francis is like, no, don't say his name. Say his name and he appears. From pretty much behind the curtain, it's Joe Hendry, and he does his full kind of entrance thing. He turns to Francis, pretty much says, look, I feel bad, man. This clearly isn't working. And I just want us to move on. Francis retorts, look, last time you said something about that like that to me, I almost took you out for good. And then Hendry's like, yeah, okay, I'll see you around. He leaves. Then he turns to Deaner, says, look, it's obviously time we take a different approach, so let's talk about it. Then Deaner's like, dude, I want nothing to do with you. We then go to the shortest match of the evening, as Khan takes on Richard Admonish, it says, but I don't know if that was actually his name, and Art Gold. Pretty much a big old squash match after a choke slam. So your winner, Big Khan. Khan attacks the two guys post-match. This brings out PCO, and then Khan actually meets PCO on the ramp after he does his full entrance, which is weird. They get in the ring. Security's out there to try to break it up, but these are two big-ass hosses. They're not going to do that easily. They keep beating the crap out of each other. They end up on the outside, on the ramp, and then Khan with the big old Iron Claw choke slam on the ramp. Big Khan is looking to go to the back. PCO sits up Undertaker style, and they keep brawling to the back. So, match was pretty much a nothing but to set up this storyline, which is going to be interesting to say the least. Next up, another little interesting story, as Josh Alexander takes on Alan Angels. Matchup I didn't think I would have liked to see, but this was a really, really fun match. Angels tries to get up, hand up on Josh before the bell, but eventually Josh Alexander takes over. Alan Angels tries a couple times for the C4 spike, but obviously that doesn't work for him. Eventually, Josh Alexander does get control back, hits the C4 for the... Actually, no, he tries for the C4. Angels goes limp. Josh Alexander with a couple of stomps right into the ankle lock for the submission victory. So post-match, Josh Alexander celebrating with the fans, giving high fives. Then all of a sudden, a fan just cold guards Josh Alexander from behind. And then he's, pretty much wearing a medical mask, a hoodie. Takes both off. It's former tag team guy, Simon Gotch. Although he hasn't been a tag team guy in a while. Last I saw him, he was in MLW with Contra, although that was like maybe 2 years ago now. And then, of course, his former partner, Aiden English of the Vaudevillains, actually does ring announcing for TNA now. So, if they get back together, we'll see about it. Should be fun. So Simon Gotch and TNA, I kind of dig it. And next up, we got our TNA main event of the evening, as Eddie Edwards takes on Alex Shelley. These two have definitely faced each other before in tag team action, with the Wolves and the Motor City Machine Guns. Although I think that was once, and it was for Ric Flair's last match, if you remember that debacle. This match was really, really good, including Alicia Edwards trying to get involved. Ultimately, Alex Shelley picks up the victory with a roll-up after a Boston Knee Party. Then out comes Brian Myers. Edwards, and Edwards come in, attack Shelley. Then out comes Kushida making the save, running off the system. And actually, as does Kevin Knight, who I didn't see on the ramp, but apparently he came in from the crowd. So, it looks like Shelley has some backup. So, TNA, very interesting show this week. We'll see what goes down in the coming weeks for the promotion. So next up, we got WWE SmackDown, which starts off with a WrestleMania kickoff recap, which I didn't really need, because I did watch it. Anyway, we start off with a promo from Triple H, who also has Nick Aldis and Adam Pearce in the ring together. So kind of the authority figures for WWE are in here. Triple H starts it off pretty much saying, feels like we're on the road to WrestleMania. Last night was a great kickoff event. And while we took a hard left, the road seems like on fire. It feels really good to be back on the road. And let's clear a couple of things up. Some people don't know their role, which is a very big shot at Dwayne. He tried to assert his authority where he really doesn't have any. And the answers for WrestleMania come from one place. Me. And here we'll make it official. The main event for WrestleMania 40 as Roman Reigns defends his Universal title against Cody Rhodes. So that match gets made official. Thank goodness. We'll see what happens with The Rock, because, I'll reveal that a little bit later. So that gets main event. Triple H continues. While some people are disappointed with that decision, it doesn't matter what you think. Another little shot at The Rock. Welcome to the world of Road to WrestleMania. This gives way to Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis, in which they pretty much say, with that issue now solved, we need to shift our attention to the world title. And we've come to an agreement that the challenger should come out of the Elimination Chamber. And we get a big reveal of the potential participants of the Chamber, and we are going to have some qualifying matches. So tonight we're going to get AJ Styles versus Drew McIntyre. I'll talk about that one a little later. Sami Zayn versus Randy Orton. Then we're also getting Bronson Reed versus Bobby Lashley, which that should be a good one. We're getting Logan Paul versus The Miz again, in which, okay. Dominic Mysterio versus Kevin Owens, which should be a fun one. And then Ivar... Who does Ivar get? There's one other one I'm forgetting about. I do apologize for that. Then they're trying to kick off the event. Out comes Drew McIntyre, who is announced for the show. Pretty much comes out, cuts a promo saying, I just want to take a moment to thank everyone that felt the same way I did about Punk. And everyone is happy after Cody chose Roman. It's time to finish playing games. I reasoned him with physicality. I took out Punk. Cody's going to finish the story. Now it's my turn to save the World Heavyweight title. So that leads right into our first matchup. AJ Styles versus Drew McIntyre, with the winner being entered into the Elimination Chamber match. And this match... Woo! This was a white-hot opener. I loved every single moment, including AJ Styles going for a style clash, only for McIntyre to power out of it. Then Drew trying for a white noise, in which that gets countered into a sick powerbomb by Styles, which I honestly forget how powerful this dude is. Like, for real. About mid-match, Drew goes for a future shock DDT, sets up for the Claymore. AJ moves, so Drew misses, right into a calf crusher, in which I haven't seen a calf crusher in years. I feel like it's been a while since AJ used that. Anyway, Drew gets in the ropes. A little bit more back and forth. And then, before I forget, LA Knight was actually out on commentary. At one point, the action did spill to the outside. Drew's in the ring. AJ Styles is out near the barricade. And then Knight pours a little water from a water bottle on him. AJ Styles then gets up. They have a little stare down. He slaps the water bottle out of Knight's hand, which lands almost perfectly between the ring mat and the barricade, which that was pure skill. AJ Styles gets back in the ring, tries to roll up Drew McIntyre. LA Knight's on the ring apron, distracting the ref, in which then AJ Styles with an elbow right to Knight. And then AJ eats a Claymore for a Drew McIntyre win. And like I said, this match was a lot of fun. I don't mind the interference because it didn't really... it did directly involve someone, but, I don't mind it. Anyway, we would go backstage for an interview with Sami Zayn. Pretty much saying, look, the last little while has been rough for me, but if we've seen anything from this past week, nothing is certain in the WWE. Now isn't the time to get emotional. I got a qualifying match versus a 16-time champion. It's not an easy path, but it's the path I'll take. Which, nice fired up promo from Sami Zayn about the main event, which we'll get to that. We then get the weirdest Pretty Deadly video promo I have ever seen. They're out on like a lake house or whatever. They're in a gazebo. Prince shows him his mangled hand after what Pete Dunne did to him. And then they start looking at Klaus. And looking back is Queen Elizabeth, which Honestly, that made me laugh. I know I shouldn't have, but I did. That was hilarious. They then continue their promo. Peter Dune, or whatever they called him, should be ashamed. Now is our time, and we're going to show everyone what Pretty Deadly is all about. Which, nice little promo from those boys. We'll see what happens going forward. We then have another qualifying match, not for the men's chamber. This is for the women's elimination chamber, as Bianca Belair takes on Mia Yim, who is being seconded by the Good Brothers, who I hope eventually they do something with the Good Brothers. They're an underrated tag team. Anyway, Bianca right off the bat tries to go for a KOD. That gets countered. Lots of really good back and forth between these two, including a countered Eat Defeat into a KOD block. Eventually, Mia Yim does hit the Eat Defeat. Tries for the Styles Clash, but Bianca's power is too much. She eventually gets the KOD to pick up the victory. Which, yep, this is going to be a very interesting chamber to see who faces Rhea. Because right now it's Becky and Bianca. Definitely some really good star power to start us off. We then go backstage where we see Braun Breaker meeting with Triple H. Triple H pretty much saying, look, Braun, I've been proud of your journey. I'm anxious to see you do at this level. Then Braun actually asks for some advice. Like, where do you think I should go? Where should I sign with? But then before he can give an answer, he pauses. The camera turns. Paul Heyman's standing there. Pretty much say, Triple H tells Braun Breaker, look, give us a second. Braun and Paul Heyman do shake hands as, if I remember correctly, on an episode of NXT, Paul Heyman managed Braun Breaker, in which maybe once the Bloodline story's done, Heyman could manage him, because I think that would be a match made in heaven. Paul Heyman then's like, that's a hell of a talent. If this is a bad time, I can come back next week. But know this, I'm not coming alone, as our tribal chief Roman Reigns will be coming also. He starts to walk off, comes back in, and so will The Rock. Oh, a Rocky heel turn, and he looks like he's joining the Bloodline, which, honestly, that's a twist I did not see coming. So, pat on the back for WWE for that one, for making this pivot. Anyway, we then go to an in-ring promo by Bayley, who, after hearing cheers from the crowd, saying, yeah, that makes me feel a little bit better. Thanks, guys. She pretty much says, look, I've been having a hard time coming up with the words to describe last week. I thought I definitely had that beatdown coming. Whether you like me or not, you have been on this journey with me, and my heart's in this. While Damage Control has meant everything to me, they've been my family. How many times have I put Damage Control before myself? They took from me, but they never gave back. And I'm not an idiot. I've been in this situation too many times. But before she can continue, out comes Dakota Kai. Bayley asks, where the heck were you last week? Dakota answers, look, I had my doctor's appointment to see about my knee. Then Bayley asks, did you know about this attack from last week? Dakota answers, yes, I knew this was happening. I tried to stop it as best I could. I thought that we could blow past this situation with Kairi Sane and Asuka. But I always believed in Damage Control. So did Io until Asuka and Kairi came into the mix. And I miss the three of us. We could do no wrong. You have always been a mentor to me. And while the plan seemed to work, we were so close to having it all. Here we are now. Bayley responds, here we are now. Where do you stand? Before Dakota can give an answer, Io, Kairi, and Asuka come out. They surround the ring. It looked like Dakota bailed on Bayley, but instead she got a chair. The other members of Asuka, Kairi, and Io are up on the apron. It looks like Dakota's going to turn on Bayley, but then she goes after Asuka, Io, and Kairi, and they stand tall in the ring together. Although, you did see after Dakota put down the chair, Bayley slid it out of the ring because she doesn't fully trust Dakota yet. We'll see what happens there. I'm going to say this. This is the most, besides maybe the Cody story, this is the most invested I've been in a WWE story in a long time. This is a great story. And I can't wait until this match for WrestleMania because it's going to be a really, really good one. Then we go backstage for an interview with Randall Keith Orton. He went over how he missed WrestleMania last year, and while that was a bummer, he learned the lesson of patience, and now we're on this road to WrestleMania. It takes a detour. There has been one constant throughout. The three most devastating letters in WWE are R-K-O. I love that as a catchphrase for Randy Orton. I've definitely missed Randy as he's been out. I'm glad he's back. And, yeah, we'll see what he does against Sami Zayn. Next up, we got a Bobby Lashley, Street Profits, and B-Fab promo backstage. In which, can we give this team a name? Like, they need a name. They need something. Anyway, they pretty much say, look, while it's been fun tingling around with The Last Testament, Bobby Lashley has bigger business to attend to, and that's winning the Chamber and making sure WrestleMania will be almighty. So he's definitely got a tall task coming Monday. Should be a really good one. Next up, we got tag team action, where the winner goes on to face Judgment Day for the tag titles at the Elimination Chamber. Finally, a tag title match on pay-per-view. Where have those gone? Anyway, our participants, we got Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa of DIY taking on Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate of British Strong Style. And yes, I'm going to keep calling them that until WWE officially does. And this match, I'm glad was given a ton of time because these four men absolutely cooked. Like, this might be... This is an example of why tag team wrestling absolutely rules. It was everything I could have wanted out of this match and then some. Match ends after a Johnny Gargano trying to go for the middle rope spear that gets blocked right into a bitter end from Pete Dunne. So your winners are British Strong Style. In post-match, while DIY are on the mat, British Strong Style go for the fist bump, and they all fist bump. I'm going to say this now. I know maybe it isn't with, the popular opinion. I think British Strong Style need to win the tag titles at Elimination Chamber. Like, I think they've more than deserved it. The reboot has absolutely worked. And let's get those tag titles on someone new. Like, don't get me wrong, I like Judgment Day. I think it's more than time Damian Priest breaks out and does some stuff on his own. And actually, speaking of Judgment Day, we have a backstage interview from Dominic Mysterio predicting that Judgment Day are going to sweep in all their matches. Rhea's going to take care of Nia Jax. Judgment Day are going to take care of British Strong Style. I'm going to qualify for the Chamber, win that, and win the World Heavyweight title so me and Rhea can have matching titles. In which I wouldn't be against that. Then we see a hand just kind of plop right onto Dominic's shoulder. Camera pans. It's Kevin Owens, who pretty much says, look, I'm your opponent for next week. I'm going to give you a beating of the lifetime, and I'm going to dedicate it to a real man, your father, Rey Mysterio. Dominic runs off in a huff. Then R-Truth comes in, thinking Owens is... Who does he think? The Miz, which is wild. Pretty much saying, look, Pierce is going to be mad that you're here. You should be over on Raw. And, Kevin Owens kind of playfully says, alright, I'll see you there. I'm going to say this. I'm going to continue to say this. R-Truth is a national treasure. He should be protected at all costs. Then we go backstage. Aldis and Pierce are in the back. They're kind of talking. Logan Paul comes in. Pretty much saying, look, I don't know why I'm in this chamber. I'm already a champion. But thank you for the opportunity. As I'm going to walk out of WrestleMania as double champ. Then Nick Aldis pretty much says, look, you're obviously overlooking your opponent. It's someone who knows you very, very well. You're going to go one-on-one with The Miz. So, Logan Paul versus Miz. Definitely some history there. Am I super interested in this match? Not really. However, this is Logan Paul's first SmackDown match. So that's... I'm going to say that's interesting. And finally, we move on to our main event of the evening. And it's a qualifying match for the Elimination Chamber men's division. As we have Randy Orton taking on Sami Zayn. And dang, these guys brought it this week. Like Sami Zayn being desperate to get on the card, being desperate to earn his shot. Randy Orton, kind of playing heel a little bit, but also desperate to get back to WrestleMania because he missed it last year. The story here is just molto bene. They hit each other with every big move possible. Eventually, Randy Orton hits the draping DDT, which is in the ropes, which is always devastating. Right into... Tries for the RKO. Sami Zayn blocks it. Tries for a roll-up. Only gets a 2. Randy tries for an RKO again. That gets blocked. Sami Zayn with a blue thunder bomb for a 2 count. So Sami, desperate, tries to pick up Randy. RKO out of nowhere for Randy Orton to pick up the victory. And as Randy Orton's celebrating, who shows up in the ring? It's Drew McIntyre. And they have themselves a little stare down. Yeah, this was a great match. I do feel bad for Sami that he's not going to be, a part of the chamber. However, something I've definitely noticed about WWE lately, they're having people earn their spots at WrestleMania more. It's not like, demand a match, you get it. And it's something I've definitely noticed about Triple H's run WWE. I mean, there's definitely still some spots where like, oh, I declare myself for the Royal Rumble. But things make sense under Triple H now. Like it's an era I can definitely not be disappointed in watching. Anyway, we're going to go away from that now. We're going to AEW Rampage. So we start off with trios action, as we have Orange Cassidy, our international champion, Trent Beretta, and Rocky Romero take on Roderick Strong, Matt Taven, and Mike Bennett of the Undisputed Kingdom. And yeah, this match was absolutely awesome. Tick for tat moves. I think at one point we got a Rocky Romero trying for the Forever Clothesline. He hits a big old super kick from Taven. And then everyone just kind of piles on their moves on Rocky Romero, including an End of Heartache for the winners, the Undisputed Kingdom. And then with the ring clear, Undisputed Kingdom set a few chairs, folded out back to back, and then End of Heartache into the chairs. Ouch! Like, seriously, ouch. Oh, that cannot feel good, man. Hopefully Rocky Romero's okay. Although he seems like he's going to be okay. Dude's been everywhere these days. Like, dang. Anyway, we roll right into our next match, as it's the Young Bucks, Matthew and Nicholas Jackson, taking on Mondo Rock and Robbie Flint. And, yeah, it's pretty much a squash match, ending with the EVP trigger for the win for the Young Bucks. Young Bucks then get on the microphone with Matthew pretty much saying, look, I'm tired of all the disrespect you show us. You're going to call us by our God-given names. Nicholas takes the microphone and pretty much says, look, obviously my brother's a hothead, and the only reason we're out here in the first place is to congratulate Sting and Darby Allin on winning the tag titles. You guys crushed it. You're going to be some great champions going forward. However, I got an injury report. The new champs are banged up. Hope you're going to be okay, and we're going to make one thing clear. Our goal is to get our tag team titles back. And no, we're not going to politic to the titles. We're going to earn them. We're going to climb the ranks, and we're going to take on top teams like we did here tonight. And we're going to get those titles back. So, Young Bucks matches are pretty much going to be dark matches although they're facing Top Flight this coming week on Dynamite. So, yeah, that matchup should be awesome. Next up, we got a very, very interesting matchup as CMLL's own Mystico takes on Matt Sydal. And yeah, the Mystico made me a fan. Like, I know a lot about Lucha Libre. However, my knowledge of CMLL is definitely limited. Seeing Mystico here definitely wants me to watch more CMLL. And Matt Sydal looked really good out there too, including going for some knee bars, but that gets blocked. And Mystico with the top rope Spanish fly to pick up the victory. That match was absolutely fantastic. I can't wait to see what CMLL does in the future with AEW. Next up, we got a Brian Cage interview backstage. Pretty much saying, like, obviously Hook's not here. Hook's at home reading his book instead of hitting people with chairs. I did see you best two guys in your last match. I can do it tomorrow. And if whoever wants to face the machine, come on down. So we got a kind of an open challenge for Brian Cage coming for Collision. We'll get to that one in a minute. But first, we got women's tag team action in our main event for Rampage. Rampage is always so quick and easy to digest, as we got Willow Nightingale and Chris Statlander taking on Ruby Soho and Saraya. So Outcasts look like they're on the odds a little bit, as we see during the Outcasts entrance, Ruby Soho taking a note out of her pocket, opening it up, reading it, and then putting it back in. That'll come to play a little bit later. Anyway, this tag team match was absolutely good, really good. Seeing the evolution of all these talents has been really, really awesome. At one point, you had Saraya down. She's looking for the tag. As she's about to go for it, Ruby Soho jumps off the apron and pretty much walks up the ramp. So that leads to a lady with powerbomb from Willow Nightingale to pick up the win for her team. Decent little main event, but then we get a little surprise at the end as Sky Blue is revealed on the ramp. Lights go out, lights come back on. Julia Hart standing right next to her, holding up the TBS title. This one's gonna get really interesting, and I'm gonna make a little suggestion for Tony Khan. I know there's been talk of, the women wanting tag team titles, and it does look like we have the roster for it. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say make the TBS title the TBS tag team titles. Instead of introducing a new title, you just add on to it. I think that could work. No? Differentiate the titles a little bit more. I think that could be good. And, that is it for Rampage. We now move into our last show of the week, as it's AEW Collision, as we got the Blackpool Combat Clubs, Jon Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli, taking on CML owns Star Jr. and it's BJ. I know I'm pronouncing that all wrong, but holy cow, more CMLL action. I've been loving this, and especially with the brawling style of the Blackpool Combat Club, it's just been working. And yeah, everyone has been doing a great job here. Mox then has Star Jr. in the Hammer and Anvil. Elbow transitions right into an armbar for the submission victory for the Blackpool Combat Club. Next thing we know, Moxley has a microphone, pretty much says, look, CMLL, we've beat some of your guys. You're going to take this message back to Mexico. Whoever wants to step up to us next from any tag team in the world, come step up. And that brings out FTR. Oh, this about to get interesting, my boys. They have a little stare down to start it off, but then they, of course, devolve right into a brawl with officials out to try to break it up. They get back into it. Eventually, they are separated and they go into their own corners. Match, yeah, definitely making me more interested in CMLL. And now we're getting FTR versus the Blackpool Combat Club. Heck yeah. Next matchup we got is Daniel Garcia versus Shane Taylor. And yeah, pretty much off the bat, Shane Taylor uses his power to overpower his opponent. But then, Daniel Garcia definitely getting some good stuff in. He's set up for a leg drop on the apron. Shane Taylor misses. Right into a knee bar for a submission victory for Garcia. So, going to be interesting to see where Garcia goes from here. Although we're going to get to that. We then get an Eddie Kingston interview. Pretty much calling what the Young Bucks did to Sting and Darby Allin disgusting. Then he calls out Bryan Danielson for a match at Revolution. He then says, once I beat you there at Revolution, I want you post-match to shake my hand. Only because I know it's going to get to you. So, this battle of respect from Kingston and Bryan, it's definitely underrated. I gotta tell you, I'm digging it. Next up, we got Brian Cage taking on the Outrunners. Nice, easy, to the point squash match where Cage wins via the Texas Cloverleaf. Cage then continues the attack post-match. Out comes the Hook for the save. They brawl on the ramp to the back. So, Hook and Brian Cage for the FTW title. Cage is a former FTW champion. He was actually the first in the AEW era, right before, I think it was Sabu who retired it in ECW. So, we'll see what goes on from there. Then we see an Undisputed Kingdom interview backstage saying that AEW used to be in chaos. There's no callback. The only thing that matters tonight is I'm coming for whoever's the champion at the end of the night at Revolution. Good luck, Orange Cassidy. That's obviously from Roderick Strong. So, we'll see what happens in that main event. We'll get to that. Then we go out. We get an Adam Copeland interview. He wants to make a note about what happened to Darby and Sting. Nicholas Matthew considering that a warning. So, Copeland versus... I wonder where that's leading to. Edge and Christian. So, we'll see about that. Then he brings up... Tony Schiavone brings up he's third in the rankings for the titles. The AEW World title is going to be contended in a trios match. Eddie Kingston just challenged Danielson. And the international title is being defended as well. That leaves me with Christian Cage. And I know where I'm going, and then this brings out Daniel Garcia, who pretty much says, you obviously deserve a shot, but you're not the only one who does, as last week I did beat the champ, and I feel like I deserve a shot at the title too. And look, everyone's thinking, I'm just going to pull the Garcia thing, lose this opportunity. The thing about me is, I fight for my life. Copeland then retorts, well, yeah, you did beat the champ, but you got a lot of help from FTR. And it's obvious we both want the shot at Christian Cage. I got a proposal for you. This Wednesday, it's going to be you versus me, with the winner getting Christian Cage at Revolution. Garcia pretty much says, yep, that's a done deal. I accept. They kind of shake hands. Copeland brings Daniel Garcia in. Pretty much says, you had a match tonight, which is the only reason I'm not ripping your face off right now. I'm going to beat you Wednesday, and I'm going to move on to Revolution. So, start of a heel turn for Copeland? I'll admit, that's intriguing. We then get a Chris Statlander Willow Nightingale interview backstage, calling their act like Full House, which interesting. Then they bring up Julia Hart and Sky Blue, calling them not true badasses. The true badasses are right here. Saying Julia and Sky just keep coming back for more. We're going to be your future. And while Sky stopped tagging with us, it hurt our feelings. We still haven't fought. So, let's fix that. So we're getting Willow Nightingale versus Sky Blue for Wednesday. That should be an awesome bout. Speaking about an awesome bout, next bout, we got Brody King taking on Mark Briscoe. And this match was absolutely awesome. Obviously, Mark Briscoe using more of his speed. Meanwhile, Brody King just completely overpowering his opposition. It does look like Mark Briscoe has the win, going for the Froggy Bow. Julia Hart then gets up on the apron, distracts Mark Briscoe, and then Brody King just launches Mark Briscoe to the outside through a table that was set up earlier in the match. Brody King gets Mark Briscoe back in the ring. It's a Gonzo bomb for the victory. I'm going to say this. Brody King definitely deserves a push. Post-match, Brody King then continues the attack on Mark Briscoe. And then Julia Hart breaks out a freaking railroad spike. And just a big old spike to the head to Mark Briscoe, who is now just bleeding buckets. Like, holy cow, this is going to be interesting. We then get a backstage promo from the newest signing of AEW, Bounty Hunter Brian Keith, who pretty much says, look, I may have just gotten here. No matter what, I'm going to climb the ranks here in AEW. I'm going to get to the top. And no matter who you are, I'm running right through you. So, going to be interesting to see where his story goes. And, yeah. Next matchup. A bit of a rematch from TNA as Kyrie Hogan takes on Deonna Purrazzo. And, this match did start off a bit slow, but eventually Kyrie got back into it and just hit all the moves. Trying for a pile driver that gets blocked. Leg sweep by Purrazzo into the armbar. Transition into the Venus de Milo for the submission win. As Purrazzo's celebrating going up the ramp, out comes Toni Storm for her match against Queen Aminata, which I'm going to say was way more competitive and a lot more fun, including Toni Storm, upon locking up with her, just giving her a little sniff, which is interesting. Queen Aminata with an air raid crash, only for a 2 count. Toni Storm with a hip attack and a Storm Zero to pick up the win. Then Toni Storm gets on the microphone, pretty much says, "Shut it. Did you see that? The master stroke of brilliance. And on Dynamite, I'm going to debut my new silent film. Deonna, try all you want. The pain of our past will haunt you the rest of your life." Oh boy, this thing is getting a little personal, and I am digging it. And Five Alamo, our main event for not only this evening, but for the week. It's the AEW International title, as Orange Cassidy defends against the Stone Pitbull Tomohiro Ishii. And yeah, early on, Orange Cassidy tries his usual bag of tricks, hands in the pockets, drop kicks, kind of lazy moves, and then Ishii would just power him out. Ishii with a big old pounce kind of near the middle of the match. Goes for a brainbuster, only gets a 2 count. Cassidy a couple of times goes for the beach break, only for it to get countered. Eventually he gets the orange punch beach break combo, only for a 2 count. He does go for the orange punch again, but that gets caught right into a suplex. Ishii goes for the brainbuster. Cassidy with the orange punch. Ishii with the headbutt. Eventually, Cassidy just rolls him up for the victory. And, if you're going to watch one match this week, this one I highly, highly recommend. Post-match, the Undisputed Kingdom attack Cassidy in the ring. And then Ishii comes back to save his Chaos partner. So, definitely some mutual respect between Ishii and Cassidy. We'll see where this goes from here. Although we do know Roderick Strong and Cassidy are having a match for Revolution, which should be tons of fun. Alright, that'll do it for this week in wrestling. I hope you guys all enjoyed. Please like the video. Comment what your favorite match, or heck, even segment of this week was. And let me know the stuff you're looking forward to, because we got a lot of good stuff coming around. Until next time, happy wrestling, everybody. Peace.